Well, lads, thank you guys so much for everyone that's come out today for the stream. I do appreciate this. This is episode 148 of Shackled. Man, it's awesome. It's really really good to see everyone that's come out. I do appreciate that. If you guys haven't yet, feel free to check out all the social links. I'm going to go ahead and share those up right now. Go ahead and check out the Discord. There's the Facebook, which is growing all the time. Lots of little games and neat little things that you guys can find yourselves there. Also, check out the Twitter. It's the #1 way to get a hold of me. Outside of Discord, of course. The YouTube is ever growing. You guys can check all of the backlogged material over there. And then there's Patreon. If you guys want to keep the stream alive, keep the dream alive, go there and do that thing. Yeah. Yeah, that thing. So, Ronald. My friend, Ron Lad.
Sup.
Sup, he says. Sup. My dude. Ronald. When you begin pushing the amulet up, off of its cradle, if you will. You see him kind of roll, like he attempts to roll away from you. But you've managed to unhook one of the clasps itself. When he rolled, it gave away just slightly, and enough so that it looks almost as if it kind of turns like a door on its hinge and just rolls to the front, but it doesn't come off completely. Do you continue?
Yes, I do.
Okay. When you continue to push on the element of this opal itself, it seems to hinge and hang on its own weight, but eventually you're able to push it nestled off of itself. When you do, it clatters to the floor, and the moment that it breaks away from his body, the image of a half-orc dissipates. It's no longer a half-orc before you, and this very primitive-looking body sort of erupts in size and shows you more. It's no longer this like attempted robust build of a half-orc, but it actually shows you something more. What you see is a little strange, admittedly, but let me describe it for you. This very like almost rotund and cartoonish-like musculature that hangs over neck like the traps of this being, this almost large and distended jaw with two jutting tusks that come upward, ears that twist from the outside of the head and come to a point, large Cro-Magnon-like eyebrows that seem to jut over it and overhang, the nose that is compressed down to the snout, making it look more like a hellhound than anything else, and two large horns that seem to curve upward on head. Its body is bulbous and muscular. At no point does it just scream lazy or fat. Now, this is a rare sight. The figure that you're looking at is more akin to what I'm going to share in chat. Here it is in Twitch chat. And I'll save that actually here so I can show you guys now. If you are incapable of checking that link, I'll show you. No, it's not a half-orc. This is by far from a half-orc. This is a little different. Its classification...
It's a troll.
A little different from that.
Classification is buff boy.
Now I just gotta find out where the hell I put it. There it is. Here we go. This is an ogre. Not to say any kind of ogre, because ogres typically look quite a bit different. No, this is a demon-touched ogre. It is an ogre mage, more commonly referred to on the material plane as Oni. They have latent magical presence like that of a sorcerer. but they're as strong and robust as any of the fighters or barbarians on the battlefield.
How about no? How about we take its existence and just no?
You can't just know it, unfortunately.
Damn it, Bob.
After his pendant clatters to the ground, the eyes peel back, revealing this split red and black pupil. He immediately stretches his hand between the tent wall and his cot, feeling around, the other eye darting around trying to feel exactly for what had happened. Grabbing at the clutch pendant, he finds it and nestles it back on spot, and it returns him back to the image that you'd once seen. The lie that has been pulled over the city for so long.
Ronald slams his head into the floor.
I will make note of his true visage, and I guess from there I'm pretty much done. Yeah. I'll now just to await my revival.
This is your last day as well. By nightfall, the tumor-like state of the ore will have come to a completion, and you'll erupt from it.
Oof.
You'll take form and stand. No more is your skin sort of peeling or seething away from your body. Now you've taken full form in your dwarven-like state. You are naked, which shouldn't come to much of a surprise.
Yeah, I'll put the clothes and stuff back on that that Jacob had brought back, as well as my armor and weapon.
Jacob, did you bring back spare clothes? Did you think he was coming back?
No, I didn't bring back spare clothes. No, what I brought back was
The backpacks.
the backpacks, the majority of the gear that was on them. You know, it was Jacob being pragmatic. It wasn't Jacob being, well, let's strip all the bodies down to everything. So he didn't grab, like,
Well, you could
armor.
carry.
Yeah, he didn't grab, like, armor or anything. He grabbed weapons, alacast, you know, the important things.
That's fair. Okay.
Mm.
All right. Well, I mean, would he still have the
But
robe
there
then?
would still be the robes of...
Yeah, I'll tear those into like a shorter version. That way I can still walk. Find a set of trousers and then don my armor. But as I come back, I'll look to Cort. Good on you for getting the message, boy. Good on you.
Assumedly, after this week of pain and healing and recovering and mental qualms, seeing Ronald's corpse suddenly build itself be probably quite terrifying. One, two, Cort would probably start crying, significantly so. At the view of his friend no longer being bone buddy on the ground.
Yeah.
Well, at least it answers the age-old question of which came first, dwarf or the egg. Totally the egg.
We all wanted to know, actually. It was the first thing on my mind when I woke up and the last thing on my mind before I went to bed.
He'll give Cort a hug, pat on the back, and he'll look to Jacob. Missed you, buddy. I missed you.
Well, it's good to have you back. And he'll start just like eyeing the ore a little speculatively. Incidentally, is that how all of you were born?
No, this is a special case. And
Oh, so you guys still have, you know, the boy dwarves and the girl dwarves and the...
yes, Jacob.
Oh, okay.
But
You're
kind
not...
of puts his hand up. enough of the sentiments. I do need to tell you that I can't be here for that much longer.
Yeah, considering the fact that you were able to come out of that piece of rock, I think maybe we should put your little trip to the forefront. After all, we didn't do so hot in that last encounter, and I know that the next time I see Ike Iverson, I want to be sure we kill him proper.
Justice will be done, Jacob. But Cort did tell you everything, right? The message that I sent, what it...
He mentioned, Thelsa having killed her family, I think, but...
Yes, it was the same evening. I guess she assumed that we all perished, but she went to this estate and she slaughtered all of them.
Okay. Which will, of course, want her to explain.
There's
when
nothing
we
to
see
explain,
her.
Jacob. I know what I saw.
Well...
Cort's gonna kind of, with tears in his eyes, look up and said, What happened?
I don't know.
How can you be sure then?
Know. I saw it clearly. If I was tangible enough to write you that message, what I saw was no illusion. She murdered them.
They deserved it.
All of a sudden, we find that Thelsa's been standing in the background, standing by the wall.
Just standing near the wall.
They deserved it, my preciouses.
All I know is that if you go back and look at the footage from when Bub said the middle sister came in, you see for that split half a second, and he has a shrub neck snap kind of face.
Yeah, it's in my mind. All that was going through it was...
I need to get rid of this problem.
Finish the job.
Problem gone. I'm good. Like, that's the look he had for a second. Then he goes, "Wait a minute, I shouldn't."
Yeah, well,
that's going to be the shirt right there. That's the Shackled City shirt right there. It's going to say Shackled City right across the chest, and then the slogan is underneath is, "But are we the baddies?" That's that right there. That's the one.
Are we the baddies?
Well, I'll admit that. But no, back in character. Jacob's just going to nod along. I really think that we should, when we see her, I mean, certainly confront her, but what do you expect us to do, Ulhime?
Did you see where she went?
When when he says like, what do you expect us to do? This would, I guess, be a new trait that you see happen to him, but his eyes spark, very similar to how Klaus's kind of lightning arcs, but his eyes spark for a second, and then they focus in on you. He goes, "We seek vengeance." And then you see his gauntlet start to glow, like the whole gauntlet turns gold.
Jacob,
And then
there
he
is
kinda
something that is very different about Ulhime, no doubt. In each time that he has died, quote unquote, he has come back a little different, but something that is peculiar to you, something you hadn't seen before, is now cast in his armored arm. There's a very clear and familiar face. A face that, at points, has haunted your nightmares. Maybe it's regret. Maybe it's unfair that the situation is happening, and he's using it as a reminder.
Sounds like Ulhime.
But you see Jimothy's face, emblazoned in the metal of his upper shoulder. A face stuck in horror, like it was embalmed to be so. Like it was cast in stone or steel, similarly.
Yeah, that's not creepy as fuck. Suffice it to say, Jacob's not really going to be looking at it too often. For
You're gonna
reasons.
side-eye his arm? Just
It's going to be like, oh, God, I don't need that reminder in my life.
As Ulhime's eyes start to kind of crackle and his arm turns completely gold, you see him step back and he starts doing this to you. What is that? And he's like, it looks like he's like grabbing at air, but Bubs, for the sake of RP, he cast Detect Evil, and you see him just kind of like wafting at the air. He's just like,
I keep telling you I'm not evil, you fuck.
why is it red? You see him like he kind of like can put his hand to it, like, but from I guess your perspective, it looks like he's like kind of just like putting his hand in your face, just like doing this.
It's like what you used to do with the bear, just like.
Is this what you see?
It's red because it's my skin.
No, there's something around you. It's like mine, but it's black and red. Is this... You have an aura like me, but...
Okay, we're not about to go ahead and start going into that hippie stuff today.
No, it's...
You know, if you start talking about auras, chakras, and essential oils, we're going to have a long talk.
He turns over to Cort. Is it like the same aura that he sees when he looks at Cort?
is it? You tell me. This is your story.
If anything, Cort's looking up at you with tear-ridden eyes.
Is it the same aura that you were expecting to see similarly?
What's your alignment, Cort? Tell me without telling me, because I want to treat this. I want to treat this as like a power that he doesn't really know yet.
Cort is a knight to be. Use that as you will. Not a bad guy.
He's not the baddies.
I am not the baddie. No.
So yours would be like a kind of like a colorless,
maybe tinged
like
blue.
Okay, so
Maybe.
say like he kind of looks at it. It's like a soft light kind of thing. Goes, yeah, no, he has one too, but it looks closer to mine than Jacob's. And then he kind of like does this with his eyes and he shuts it off and he goes, oh, Jacob, I think I got the call. That was
The what?
I had a friend before I came here to Cauldron, an adventuring buddy of mine that he always talked about the call when a deity would reach out to another person.
And this is when Ulhime reflects back to this particular person. And it was almost too chummy in its desires. Yeah. Yeah, you know, in our line of work, we call it that. It's the call. It's waking up and feeling this divine tug, like your chain is being yanked. And then you exhibit these new properties and you find that you have to do what's right. Sometimes it can be a real hang-up, man. It can be rough, but there's a great sense of self-worth in making sure that people are taken care of. Even if it means burning down the evil at its core. I mean that literally and figuratively.
That shouldn't happen, though, Jacob.
Well, you're the one that keeps talking about having become a god, so
I understand that, but the only way for that to happen is for a deity to somehow establish that. Unless, and he kind of looks to his arm, unless he did something.
Yeah, by the way, real sick joke. Didn't need the reminder, just saying.
Pharasma did this.
Okay.
But either way, I'm getting cut off. I'm getting off track. As of right now, first we need to find Klaus. Where is he?
Last I checked, he was very dead. Granted, his little thing
I don't know
was
what that means.
left behind. Well, remember how... I'm trying to remember. Klaus did explain to us that he body hops, right?
He has discussed that he has an ability to stay alive even far after death. I don't think he's quite declared it body hop, but he has stated that this isn't the first of his forms and not the last, likely.
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't want to go ahead and risk going meta with it. But no, Jacob's going to be like, well, here, he died. And this little ball of lightning came up, right? And, well, you remember in the temple, Ouijas, how there was that portal we left behind leading to that place that we had to visit, Occipitus?
Yeah.
It kind of went that way. And that's the last I know.
So you think he still might be alive?
It depends on your definition of alive. I mean, I
Cort's
didn't
going to
think...
kind of say it with a bit more energy.
We didn't necessarily think you were alive. Truth be told, I'm surprised I'm alive. If we want to go ahead and, call a spade a spade. But that's neither here nor there. If you're asking if I know where Klaus is, or if he's even alive, negative.
Understood. And we need to make sure that Cort stays hidden. Mm-hmm. Cort, when Thelsa murdered her family, it was with your weapon.
Cort's eyes are going to light up the second you say that. What?
The weapon that...
Shh. I just got him over that. I just got him over it.
Cort's going to kind of get really silent and look towards the floor for, solid few seconds.
Yeah, and Jacob's just kind of sidestepping to get between him and the door.
Where's my sword?
I don't know. I lost track of her down an alleyway.
Where was she?
I don't know.
Where did you see her? Please tell me.
Kind of puts his hand. He puts his hand on his head. Look at me. You have to stay focused. I can't have you losing your mind on this. We're gonna find her.
Cort's fists are going to clench tightly enough to where you hear the leather in the gloves start to exert the stress.
He'll put his hand over his, kind of pat it, like stop. Come on. I can't have you like this.
All right. So, anyways, Thelsa's apparently running around with what's left of Cort's sword, chopping up family members. I'm apparently, if I had to guess, I'm probably wanted by the law again. And something tells me you're not real keen on walking out and about in the city trying to find Thelsa or trying to figure out where Klaus is. Because, speaking from experience, I'm not going to Occipitus to take a peek.
Well, I don't know of a way to get there. And as I've said before, I don't know if I'm running out of time for what happened. So I guess for now, everything has to be put on hold until we can find a way to regroup or something comes to us.
Seems like a plan.
Can I ask? Can you come with me?
Oh, what, to the plane of fire?
Kind of gives him a slow nod.
Sure. That's not going to be a problem. But I would recommend that we try and figure out what's happened to Klaus and Thelsa first. I don't want to just hair off and not figure out that we're leaving those two behind. Besides which, I'm curious about what happened with Thelsa. I'm not sure if you're aware, because somehow or another you seem exceptionally well informed for a freshly risen corpse. But after leaving Ouija's, I went ahead and swung by the Temple of Palor so I could go ahead and check with the priest, let them know that we're here, and maybe see about getting some aid and healing and dealing with Cort. You remember that kid we left? The one who ran away?
Yeah. What happened?
He apparently killed the priest. And if you'll recall, he mentioned that he was there by force in the Temple of Ouija's anyway, and that he was actually one of the initiates of Palor. So, when you tell me that Thelsa killed her family, I'm not altogether convinced that that was Thelsa's doing. Any more than I'm convinced that this boy that we left to survive, went back and killed his mentor that he looked up to for no apparent reason.
What, you think some possession of some sort?
I'm thinking there's more going on with the Temple of Ouija's than what we're just seeing on the surface. So, before we go justice, let's go ahead and see if we can figure out the motivations behind that first.
Let's go ahead and take a pause there for a minute, because we still have 3 more acts that I'd like to touch before this game ends tonight. And that's going to be between Klaus, Thelsa,
Spider-Man,
and Jakob. Because Thelsa's isn't over, even though that it's partially started. Klaus's hasn't really begun, even though I don't think this is going to take very long. And Jakob, we still haven't touched on the things that you want to do in your week. I know that we haven't done that with Klaus either, but his was significantly more simple, and it was far less involved. Klaus.
Well,
We're going to start there. We're going to start with Klaus. You said to me that you wanted to spend the first part of your week inside of Occipitus, becoming accustomed to your new body.
Correct.
And the latter part, you wish to find your way back to the bathhouse to fashion some sort of large-scale cloak to conceal your spider parts.
Spider part.
Mm-hmm. And then you wanted to ask around about Ike's whereabouts and his close associates. There's going to be some challenge with this, because despite how capable you are of forming a proper concealment, you are still going to walk like a spider, a very big spider at that.
If I have to make myself look like a centaur, then so be it. But
All
it's a
right.
really shitty horse costume over the back half of me.
The best you could do is look like Lysandra. Just kind of skate around.
This is going to be a bit strange, but yeah. Tell me, I'm going to let you have the narrative control here for pretty much most of this. You spend half of your week inside of Occipitus. Explain to me, as I'm watching, as if this is some kind of a show, how you do that. What does it look like? What does your training look like? Do you commit to training, or do you just kind of talk to me? Tell me what you're doing.
It looks like a musical montage.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's
Push it to the limit.
I was thinking more Milan, but close enough.
God damn it.
No. So
We need a montage!
I need to mute him.
So what this is going to look like, basically the driving factor behind it is the last time that I remember coming into a new body was with Spellmason, and there were quite a few growing pains associated with that.
Yeah.
Namely, some doors that got blown up, not being able to move like I previously did because I'm geriatric at the point. So now that I'm in a spider body, I'm assuming, or half spider body, I'm assuming things are going to be very different. And I'm going to need some time to adjust to that. So my plan is to kind of just throw myself straight into the fire. And if I can survive the horrors of Occipitus in this new body, then I should be fine in Cauldron, at least for the most part. So I'll likely be sort of roaming the land, dodging pustules and monsters wherever they may come, and getting accustomed to the sort of intricacies of movement with half spider, half drow body.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and hit you with your racial traits right now.
Okay.
So you've lost... I'm not really sure what you gained from being... Or what we gave you from being the old man.
I don't think we got any hard numbers from being Spellmason. I think it was all flavor, mostly.
You should probably keynote on your character sheet then for these stats, because these are going to be... They're going to change. And if you don't stay this body, we'd rather have you back at your proper stats. So you're going to gain a +2 on your dexterity. You're also going to gain a +2 on your strength. But what you're going to lose is your constitution. I'm going to pull away from your con. You're technically not a large-sized creature yet, because you are still in the body of a young Drider. Your base land speed will increase by 10 due to your extra legs. You will have dark vision. You have the quadruped ability, meaning you gain a +12 racial bonus on combat maneuvers against trip attempts. And you have a climbing speed of 20 feet. Also a +8 racial on climb checks.
Okay, I'm going to need a couple of those again. If you want to just like drop them in Discord, that'll be fine. But whatever is easiest for you.
So quadruped is going to give you your increased land speed. Here is quadruped. You're also going to get dark vision. You'll have access to climb, which is going to give you a climb speed of 20. And you get a +8 on climb checks. You're going to get the +2 on your dex and strength. -2 to con. Medium-sized creature. And... we're going to give you natural armor +2 and spell resistance 5. 5 plus... yeah, just 5. Additional 5. So whatever you had before, if you had any kind of spell resistance, we're going to give you 5. Plus whatever you had previously.
Okay, and what was the natural armor?
2. +2.
Okay.
It's a tough exoskeleton. It's like the equivalent of you know, studded leather, though. Or leather at best. It's not super crazy. Driders would be broken if they had more natural armor. Okay, so based on those things, movement and capabilities, you know that you can scale walls very easily. You don't even have to use your hands. What else might you be doing?
I mean, aside from just kind of moving around Occipitus to get used to the body, I would like to kind of explore the land a little bit more.
Okay.
Familiarize myself with this area. Even if I won't be visiting here too often, I feel like it would be beneficial to know the lay of the land pretty well.
So you aren't really opposed by any of the creatures that reside here. Nothing really wants to challenge you. That being said, some of the less intelligent creatures, or less than creatures, the blobs, the things that are floating in the sky, the pustules, those aren't intelligent. They are just simple. It's like a shifting mass that consumes. You'll find that whenever you get a little too close to the sky, depending on what you're climbing, they start pooling up to you, like they were trying to come down. Pretty much everything else evades you. Yeah, everything else pretty much just evades you. They stay out of your way. Likely in the aims of about 45 to 50 feet. You are technically a denizen now, and you are a ruler, so they don't question that. There is an innate power that comes with this, and it has permanently tainted your soul, which in this case we know is your spark. But only a few people know that. Jakob knows that. The Drider that you were previous to this, or the Drider whose body you're now inhabiting, is aware of this, but the others not so much. So you'll spend the first part of your week trying to become familiar with your body. You'll see that you can move quite a bit quicker. You're better in bursts. You have adjusted physical stats. You're not quite as slow, which before you moved at around 15 feet around, and now you can move in like a full round of just full-on wind sprints, like up to 200 feet if you're running in a straight line, which is gross. So movement is much more your friend. Flying's still going to be a little tricky. And you can still get tripped up because, well, natively it's not your body. And you're not used to having this many legs, but that's okay. But now that you've found your way back, you've stumbled upon your portal, and you wanted to make your way back into Cauldron. Go ahead and roll me a D100, please. I'll say even in your favor.
$96.
Very good, even in your favor. It's under the cover of night. We'll say it's night 4. As you return unto Cauldron, it is night. It seems as if the Temple of Ouijas is completely abandoned. I need to know, for all intents and purposes, Jakob and Cort, if you're staying inside of this home, this abandoned home, would you have some kind of light inside?
Depends if we're staying under the church or not. Because where we'd more than likely be spending the night.
Technically, you guys didn't go under the church. You just went into the vacated home. You never moved into the basement and went across.
Then, I guess it would be up to Sniper, since he's the one who'd be more tactically thoughtful in that matter.
Well, given the fact that Jakob has no need for light at night, because, you know, dark vision, y'all.
Cort's got the gloves.
No, if he was, you know, once Cort was
dark
awake...
vision, you got to remember, like, dark vision is good, but dark vision doesn't keep you warm.
No, it doesn't keep us warm. But no, he wouldn't be dumb enough to light a fire
inside
in the vacant house. He'd have gone into the basement.
Okay. All right. So then you move into the basement to do just that. All right. That's fine. Now that you've arrived back into Cauldron, did you wish to go back upstairs? Did you want to go outside immediately to the bathhouse? What did you want to try to do?
Considering where I am, I'm likely going to... I mean, the last thing I really remember is being in the upstairs area with all of my friends and then dying a horrible death. So, yeah, I'm going to go upstairs and check to see if anyone's still there. If there's aftermath that needs to be dealt with, that kind of thing.
It's bizarre when you move upstairs to see what the aftermath actually looks like. The Grey Renders, when they die, they don't really just leave corpses behind. They actually absolve into some kind of clay-like matter, which is weird because you can always find when there's been like a Grey Render burial ground, because you'll find teeth and bones and things like that, but most of it has been impacted with clay, which is sort of what they leave behind themselves. And here you'll see just that. You'll see teeth, maybe a few of the upright bones that were structured around the renders themselves. But most of this matter that's left behind is clay. You'll see that there are blood bits on the ground. You'll see the body of Serbar Spellmason that's rotting. It seems to be rotting fairly quickly. It seems more so than the others. It could be, the chance that time is catching up with it much more differently now that a soul doesn't occupy its shell. Thelsa is not there. Jakob is not there, nor is Cort. Ulhime still lie in ash on the floor. But nobody's belongings are there.
I got your shit, son.
Given that no one's belongings are there, and it just seems to be sort of bloody bodies and almost inexplicably a bunch of clay, I'll be leaving. I think just, even though it's under the cover of night, not to take any chances, I'll go ahead and cast a teleport spell to get myself back to the bathhouse, since it's an area that I'm very familiar with.
Oh boy.
Okay. Well, when you get there, it's vacated. It's empty. It's still not a few nights before Thelsa returns, so you pretty much have the run of the place.
Given that no one's shown back up here, my first assumption would be that they're primarily dead or captured. That being said, it's still not easy for me to get around unnoticed or unapprehended, so I'll probably be looking around the bathhouse for materials to sort of try to make something to conceal myself in any minor way I can, just to make it not so obvious from a distance that I'm a freak of nature.
Yeah. You'll grab a stack of the bathrobes, which are gray in color. They don't look like they're soft and fuzzy or fluffy, which you might expect. These are just very basic robe-like linen that opens in the front with a front tie. They don't have a hood, but you can fashion one easily enough. It's going to look shoddy unless you wish to perform here. If you think crafting a robe is in your wheelhouse, then I think we could try to make the most of it, but I don't want to assume that this is one of your native skills.
I mean, hey, you now make duct tape out of your butt, so...
Rednecks love him.
He is basically Steve Irwin for the animal world of supernatural monsters.
I thought you were going to say Stephen Hawking, and I was like, that's incorrect. That is not right.
He knows all about those wild monsters.
No,
nothing else.
Not at all.
I'll throw in a few mending spells here and there,
okay,
just to try to keep it a little bit more together, because I know my sewing skills aren't really up to par. So just trying to make it look decent. Doesn't have to be perfect.
Okay. Your sewing skills are so-so.
Well, I know that he can make webbing, apparently, so...
Do you know this for sure, or is it just an assumption?
I was going to say,
No,
how'd you find
I know
that
it-
out so quickly?
Simple. Bub described the Drider that you're now inhabiting and helped you along by dropping a thread to you.
I don't know,
It's
man.
called
I saw your eyes
observation,
wandering.
guys.
Oh, you were observing something, all right.
Steve Irwin, man, I'm telling you. He's like, watch! What? Look at him!
Crikey! Look at that!
I think it's more like the nature walk guy.
He's spitting weapon from his bum!
Yeah, that's more like it. You don't have to touch it, just look at it. Neat.
You can tell it's a Drider by the way that it is.
Wow.
I'm a eating.
Always packing heat. Pack. Bring a gun.
Bring a gun!
Okay, Porgy.
It's fucking funny. It's too good.
Bring
Bring a wand.
gun.
Bring a wand.
Mhm.
Okay. It'll take some time. Admittedly, it's not one of your best traits, and while you're not specifically large, you are definitely teetering between small and medium with this large back end. So it takes you some time. You know, it's not easy trying to make proper sleeves for spider legs. Even if you drape it over, it's going to be more akin to like a blanket hanging over the top of you, which is going to hinder some of your movement.
I better hope for no strong breezes in Cauldron.
You just don't want to pull that Marilyn Monroe pose.
Just pushing. Oh, it's too good. I love it. I
Yeah,
hate it, but I love it.
it blows the robes up. Scream.
Scree. Yep. Perfect. Yeah, so you'll fashion some things. You're able to tear a couple apart and make what you feel like is a functional equivalent of like a gray robe. Enough so that it will cover your head, but you aren't really going to be able to explain much of what you're dragging behind. It would still stick to shadows and night movement. As much as you can, unless, you know, you get direct approval from any number of people that it may matter.
Yeah.
A drider on site is like, kill it with fire before it lays eggs. That kind of thing.
Only kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, how much sound do I make when I move around? Am I like super clickety clackety?
It's not like you're wearing heels.
I mean, it kind of is.
It kind of is, because the end of his feet, the spider.
He's walking on his tippy toes.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, like chitinous-like material.
Well, if he's actually playing a drider, then he's a creature of the Underdark. Creatures of the Underdark are almost specifically predisposed to being silent.
Tell that to a hooked horror. It's quite literally a linebacker made of bone armor.
Hookers?
A hooked horror. That's very different.
Terrifying.
Yeah, think of
Hopefully
just
you
like
never
a
encounter.
giant underground crab.
Nope.
Yeah, you natively
like not
don't
that.
make as much noise, but if there is a marble floor, you are definitely known.
Oh, fucking
Tap
dancer.
dancing. Yeah.
You finally found a body that you can take.
All right, I
to your
changed my
career
mind.
path.
I'm going to use the back half of my week to practice my routine.
He's
But
done
I Shirley
with
Temple
adventuring.
is-
He's gonna add. He's gonna add to that finger waggle.
Get +3 to perform for this week's of training.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey.
Yes,
Hello,
you Michigan J. Drider. Very good. Fucking hate you guys so much.
Just wait until he performs through the fire and the flames of his tap dance routine.
We're gonna be like, oh man,
It's gonna be so ridiculous.
guys, did you guys see Klaus? No, I heard he's on tour with his tap dancing band.
This is
feel
where
like
the Four
it's-
Bards campaign starts.
I feel like it's yeah.
It starts with the Drider tap dancer.
It's kind of like Camille from League.
Yeah.
You know, she's got
Yeah.
those
The
like
white
slim
ass
feet.
legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Camille with Evelyn, though.
Yeah.
I'm almost sorry that I started.
How about we never encounter that ever in any game we play?
You don't
Oh
really
my
want
god,
to, man.
it's like a baby bird.
If the baby bird was like 12 feet tall and could punch through stone.
Well, okay, it's like a Marvel Comics baby bird where it was like exposed to a little too much radiation, but it's still like a baby bird.
It looks like you tried to mix a bird with a turtle.
Yeah.
With I don't know.
That's not
like,
far off.
It's actually just a kappa. Like that's all it is.
It's not far off. It's like an Underdark Kappa. I believe they look a little different in some of the more modern editions.
It's actually an Underdark Koopa.
Yeah, there's another edition here. There's another one here. Let me show
It's
you.
A birdle.
It's a birdle.
I don't actually know if this link is going to work. I've never seen a link start with data. No, that's the whole internet. I'm sorry, I can't link that. I'll just put it in the Discord.
That's the best.
Is Picard
do
there
it.
as well, or is it just Dad?
Here, I'll...
Give it to us.
Put it in the Discord and then get the Discord link for it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're gonna
Oh,
do that.
there you go.
Where's the? Oh.
I'm waiting.
It's in general.
Gotcha.
Yeah, put it in general.
Jesus. He buff.
Yeah, they're like
Wait,
they're the hunters.
With those claws.
You don't. You really don't.
You cannot tell me. You cannot tell me with those pecs. This thing does not bench.
He just skips the weights.
That's the thing is that's armor. Like its whole body, where it's not that dark color gray, is just covered in thick stone armor. Yeah.
How about we never fuck with those?
No.
Because we've never gone to the Underdark.
Yeah. Crabdodosaurus Rex is not amused. Fuck, that's funny.
Mom said it's my turn on the Xbox.
So wait, if we ever have to encounter this thing, can we just send a Will after it so it could be like a new mini Godzilla spinoff? Like we have our own bee monster movie to fight with.
No, really, that's gonna be every fight from now on.
Bird
You don't
Turtle
realize.
versus
I'm gonna wait till
Strider.
like 3/4 through the fight, and then you guys are gonna be like all bloody and broken and tired, and I'll just come swinging in.
You're gonna be a trapdoor spider.
Nothing.
You're just gonna hide underground, and when we get it low enough, you just shoot out.
We've seen now that nothing is as strong as an unlit torch in Ulhime's hands.
I don't know, man. Fucking Drider acting like Spider-Man swinging through Cauldron.
I don't think the houses are tall enough.
No,
Like,
that's,
you'd have to pull from like
I'll
the
exclusively-
middle of the house.
I will exclusively hang out near Keegan Gels.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Just swing around the building over and over again.
Get
Good
that momentum
lord.
going to get across Creeper Lake.
Oh god.
The you heard about the Black Tower Drider? How could we not look at him? It's like spinning around, just casting lightning bolts at every turn.
It's the Wilhelm scream the entire time. Or
Oh,
like
man.
when R2D2 bursts out of the ground.
Too good.
oh shit.
All right, glad we had that moment. That's fucking funny.
One for the clips pile. Get on it, Christy.
Klaus, you have fashioned your equipment, or whatever you feel like you need up to this point. You have arrived from Occipitus. But people they're just not going to talk to you. There's no way. Like, excuse
Honestly,
me,
that's
man,
fair.
have you seen Ike Turner? Like,
That's being gracious that he gets through that sentence.
I just want him to actually have an unintentional lisp. Have you seen Ike? Son.
No, man. After the third or fourth person runs away from me screaming, just bloody murder, I'm gonna start to use my new body to its fullest potential and web them into fucking place while I ask them questions.
I was about to say that doesn't seem far off from what you're gonna do.
Honestly, that doesn't shock me at all. That is very much. Klaus.
I sit outside the bathhouse with the broken doors, and I just shoot the web out anytime someone comes across.
I got this butt spinner for a reason. He's walking along rooftops, grabbing passersby.
Right in this close to your face, and you're like, "Hey, have you seen my friend?"
Ike?
No.
You seen Ike?
No.
I gotta go ahead and ask Ike about something. So, you go ahead and let him know that I'm looking for him. Okay?
It's straight up like Looney Tunes style. Like whatever they're carrying is just spinning in midair while I'm talking to them
And then you
outside.
God damn it. So yeah, it's likely that you're not going to discover about Ike's whereabouts or his close associates unless you hang out inside of the tower the entire time.
Hey, there's an idea.
It would require you like doing research based off of those things. Remember, you guys did have details regarding F. Abradius. That's a name that you guys definitely did get regarding the Soul Pillars.
Correct.
Okay. We've gone through the Micro Klaus arc.
Thelsa.
No, we're gonna go to Jakob.
Oh shit.
I was actually hoping Thelsa could go ahead and wrap hers up because I'm already kind of playing at the end of Ulhime's, and
You are,
know,
and you're not at the same time. You still have your week. You still have your week.
It'll be your flashback.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just makes more sense to go through my week and then pick up with Ulhime.
It does for you, but not for my story.
Okay.
There we go. So, Sniper, you've already actually done some of this. Some of the things on this list is already taken care of. It's already finished, right? Like, you don't have to worry about settling down Cort. You've already taken care of that. You've discussed forging your spell scars during daylight hours.
Yeah, that we can go ahead and cap off because I decided to go with something else for my level progression. I went ahead and looked at it and looked at the ridiculousness that we keep running into, and it's like, nah, I think I'll be a little more tactical. So,
okay,
yeah, he doesn't have to worry about the spell scars. So he's probably going to go ahead and just spend his time collecting the supply, kind of patrolling around and looking for Ike Iverson.
Okay,
about the city from the rooftops, and of course he still wants to go to town.
Okay, as far as patrolling the city, you can find out a bit more about Ike Iverson if you know the right people, but it's going to come down to you knowing who to talk to.
Oh, he ain't talking to nobody. It's one of those,
stay hidden.
You know, going around the city and something catches his eye, he'll
Sure.
pay attention and, you know, follow it. But he's not about to go all Batman and where's Ike Iverson? Because he doesn't know that many people in town.
Sure.
Yet,
Well, I did want to talk about two key points here. You brought up two things in your week breakdown that I feel like actually need viable discussion.
Sure.
Because they are important. Specifically, you said that you wanted to slip out into the city and talk to Dugobras.
Yes, because I feel like with everything that's going on, letting Dugobras know, hey, there's the possibility that Jared Skellering's going to come by and be all, where's the demon boy? Don't tell him. Just, you don't know where I'm at.
Also, you said that you wanted to speak with Tyget of Tyget Supplies, particularly regarding the Soul Pillars and the Cage Rights.
Mm-hmm.
So,
because Tyget's is known in the city for being kind of the dumping ground of old shit.
Definitely. You, let's go ahead and start with Dugobras. Dugobras is, it's important. There's some things that you can learn here if you ask the right questions. Now, this isn't your first time. Out of game, it's not your first time talking to Dugobras, but in game, what is Jacob's relationship to Dugobras at this point?
He's met him once.
It's fair.
Yeah, I mean, he knows that Dugobras and Ulhime have an understanding.
Okay.
And he understands that Dugobras is a big, scary fire giant. That's pretty much the minimum and maximum of his knowledge when it comes to Dugobras.
All right.
He had intentions to go ahead and work more with Dugobras in the future, see about putting in a request for some special armor, maybe a blade, maybe one of those like real fly sidestep boots, with the J's on the side and whatnot, but
well, that didn't likely happen.
It's not likely ever going to happen, but that's kind of what he would talk about with Dugobras in the future. But no, may as well just go ahead and get right into it. Moving through the city of an evening, once he, so that he can not draw as much attention, he would go to the bathhouse and and he would actually go around to Dugobras' lean-to hut / smithery.
Okay. Smithy.
And
Smithery. I feel like it feels so weird to my ears when you say smithery. I just want to hear smithereens. I think it's just smithy though, right?
Yeah, that is the technical term, a smithy.
Okay. You know where he is. Do you want to go during the day or during the night?
During the night.
All right. Not a problem. Okay. You can find him where you've basically left him. And his sleeping situation is a little weird, especially since you guys have left him with a body.
Mm-hmm.
Malgrim.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Yeah, you have. You've left him with a bit of a body. So it's tricky.
Well, I mean, when you say body, you make it sound... Malgrim's not dead. He's just quiet.
Yeah, we'll go with that. He's quiet. He's quiet, certainly. Okay, so you got it, man. What exactly are you hoping to find out? You went under the cover of night. You managed to stay away from the watchful eye of the guard and the half-orcs plus the Blue Duke. So yeah.
Yep, so coming up to the lean-to, once he was certain that it was actually Dougalbras in there, because, well, how many Flaming Fire Gens do you know? He is going to politely knock on the outside. Dougalbras.
It doesn't take long for the door to swing wide. And he's there, standing. Seems a little worse for wear, like he's not been sleeping well. He eyes you for a moment.
Ulhime's friend, Jakob.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What do you need?
What I could, what I need is a drink. But no, things went south tonight. May I come in?
It's not much. Been trying to teach. There's only... Yes, you can.
Remember, this is the hut that's been designed to be like 15, 16 feet. Maybe at most, and it's just slats of cracked steel that's been placed side to side. With a bit of a shanty roof. It's not well put together. And there you'll see that there is the hobgoblin man sitting at the edge of his bed. And he's just kind of holding what looks to be a makeshift canteen of sorts.
Well, it's out of the view of the public, so yeah, he's just kind of slips in and steps aside. Well, I mean, it's a start. It's nothing to be ashamed about. But no, I just wanted to come and let you know that there was a battle. And I know you know the others better than you know myself. But a few of them were unfortunate. They didn't make it.
He pauses, and he looks around.
Is Gerald Skellering, does he still live?
Actually, yes, he does. In fact, one of the things that we had to kill tonight was oddly specifically after him. For one reason or another. He kept yelling for his name, but we managed to...
I'm not surprised. Brave warriors have villains and enemies that they fight. They face regularly.
Oh, true, he is an epic figure amongst the city and a man of high standard and means. I can understand him having enemies of that caliber.
He sees how you pour on these doting phrases, and he looks to you.
Do you rest in his bed?
No, though I'm sure whatever Gal does is an awful lucky one.
I'm not sure he is in interest of the living. He's expressed private concerns for inanimate objects.
Doorknobs, right?
I care not for what he calls them.
Strangest thing. But
I know
that's
that
neither...
he pays me well, and I craft for him. For all of the town, at least the guard. It's what I'm paid for.
Rather surprised you didn't just set up shop inside the
Listen,
bathhouse.
what is it you want? You didn't come to speak of pleasantries and your desires, to bed Jared Skellerang. So what do you want?
Two things. First, I felt that you had to know about what was going on, but second is actually more for Skellerang's benefit. I want you to keep an eye on the Lady Green. I ran into Kiana under circumstances, and she was acting unusual. Her Kiana is a member of the Guard. She's not exactly known for spell casting, and yet she was able to cast a spell right under my nose without noticing. That on its own is rather unusual, but in doing so, her eyes, they were just black when she did it. Like something else was behind her eyes. I'm not sure what's on.
Is she cursed? Does she have a curse? Perhaps she is not of this plane. Maybe she is like Dugobras and from a different plane.
Ronald, your camera died again.
I know. Be right back.
The fuck? Can't you tell people are trying to look at my wonderful face? But, back on track. It is possible that she's from another plane. It's possible that we just don't know what's going on with her. But my point is, she's doing things and showing traits and features that aren't usual for a woman who presents herself as a human guard. Just keep an eye on her. And if you can, warn Jared. Because I have a feeling that I'm going to be very popular with the guard here short. Just...
What do you mean?
Well, the circumstances that I ran into Kiana on was I was in the Temple of Palor, and I came across a murder. And she seems to think I'm responsible. I'm not. But that's when she started demonstrating these skills, and being as everyone else was either dead or incapacitated, I didn't want to chance one-on-one combat with an unknown foe, especially having just lost a rather miserable fight to this Ike Iverson character. Regardless, it's unimportant. There's every possibility I'm going to soon be wanted by the guard. And I just wanted someone trustworthy to know that the guard is worth watching as well.
Why the guard?
The last I met Skellerang, he seemed... Okay, he seemed unusual, but he seemed human. He seemed himself. Kiana Green not so much. She's been edgier and more violent. But that's only, I'm new to this city, and as you can tell, not one of the locals.
He nods.
So I think maybe Skellering is in danger. And I feel you should at least know that much.
Fair. Thank you for informing me. I find it is hardest in preparation when you cannot be prepared. When you lack the proper knowledge, it makes things easier.
Well, I'll most certainly admit it feels like lately I've been running in the dark, full tilt towards walls.
Open your eyes, boy.
There are certainly strange things afoot within the city. Not least of which are things like the vampires underfoot, of course. Then we have this Ike Iverson character who's apparently trying to do something. Oh, God, what are they called? Something having to do with soul pillars or something or other.
Are you going to lament all night long, or will you allow me to return? I care not for your problems.
Fair enough. I suppose I was venting a little hard on you.
Please, you must understand. While I am not trying to be rude, he
points to you and back to himself.
We are not friends. We can be. But friendship is hard earned. It's not freely given.
That is fair. My apologies for rousing you so late in the evening. I do thank you for hearing me out. And I do hope that the watch on Kiana Green turns up no fruit. But if it does, hopefully it's for the best on Jared's side.
I will be diligent in my watch.
And with that, Jacob turns and starts walking off to leave him to his own.
He nods. As you leave, you hear him say,
"Good evening, devil."
Doesn't really know what to make of you. He also doesn't really know your name.
Generally, I go by Jacob over Devil.
Fair. Then I'll know you as Jacob, the devil.
Well, have a wonderful evening, Dougalbras, the Fire Crotch. And with a salute, he's on his merry way.
Dougalbras looks around for a moment before shutting and shuttering his shed. See, he just observed you and called you what he saw of your whole person. And what you did was just admit to looking at his crotch. Like, that's it.
It's a ginger joke.
Hey, that's where my eyes were meeting.
I would have.
Hey, I was going to start that conversation with, can you put some pants on?
He was wearing pants. Do you just assume that everyone that opens their door?
Hey, I know that when I'm at home, pants come off. Yeah.
Wait,
Casa de Sniper? Uno más pants.
One more pants?
Uno más pants.
One more pants.
The House of Sniper. One more pants.
Sounds placard worthy. Staple of
and this is why
pants. God damn it.
I'm gonna guess you only took 1 year of Spanish.
No, even less.
It shows.
I've got a master's.
In Spanish?
Yeah, in a language.
The house of
In dumbassery.
Uno.
In
Mas
bullshittery.
Yeah. Legends of Avantris, thank you so much for that raid. Thank you guys, I appreciate that. You just
oh, what a time to come in.
You just missed a moment. It was a good moment. It was one that I will treasure, and I'll probably.
You missed one more pant.
You missed one more pants. That's right. It was a good one. Thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate that.
I like that you couldn't even go the extra mile and say pantalones. You just went with pants.
Yeah. Uno mas pants.
Pants, motherfucker.
Oh, Christy, can we get a shout out for Legends of Avantris, please? Thank you guys. Hop on in. Have some Hooters. I will.
Their food tastes gross.
I still love that emote. That's such a good. Owlbears are actually among my favorite creatures in the entire tabletop series.
You don't go for the food.
Zivia says, "I'll subscribe when you play Rifts." Zivia says that with a subscription coin. I'll work on it, Ziv. I'll work on it, I promise.
Sin pantalones.
Yes. Yes.
Gotcha, MVG. I'll go ahead
He's the fucking Don Quixote of this group, like, every time. Every time.
What, that I tilt at windmills?
Chasing windmills, man. Chasing them.
It's not that far off.
You're just a bumbling hero.
Courier,
which, I mean, is fitting for the group.
When the game ends tonight, I'll give you guys an update on what's potentially coming in the future. But I'm going to give Jacob an opportunity to round out the last portion of his week. He has one more spot. He's going to go speak to Tyget Mispus of Tyget's Old Things. Now, if you recall, Tyget is a venerable halfling. He owns business. Tyget's Old Things. He's a bit of a collector. He specializes in non-magical art objects gathered from across the known world. Tyget himself has fairly useful, excellent commercial contacts in the capital city of Sasserine, which you guys won't potentially go to, but he's a valued asset that's gone widely underutilized up to this point. I think you might be able to gain some information here.
I certainly hope so.
Well, let's hope that Sniper doesn't fuck this one up.
Hope springs eternal.
I know. I believe in you. I believe.
Oh, that's sweet.
So, my friend, do you still go under cover of night? Because Tyget's a bit of an elderly gentleman. He closes shop pretty much at sundown.
Yeah, no. Given the fact that I'm trying to meet him at his shop, I'm probably going to try and get him as early in the morning as possible. Because I know I can take flight during the day and maybe avoid most notice that way. But it's at night that I'm able to go ahead and walk a little more freely. So, no, he's going to try and come to Tyget's in the morning.
Okay. All right, that's fine. Tyget's is among the first shops opened. Given that his shop is still also in the same place that he rests at night, it's his home. So, he obviously is going to have his private quarters closed, but the rest of this place will have various tools, doohickeys, doodads, toys, what have you. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and give you... Give the floor, sir.
Oh, fantastic. I was about to be like, oh, I get freebies? I get swag?
No. You earn everything here.
But no, slipping inside Tyget's, he's going to take off his cloak and go looking around. Hello?
It doesn't take you long before you hear the clicking and the clacking of nails across the wooden floor. you will see the beast, the pet of the home, a amber-eyed hound with tiger-like stripes draped over its back. This medium-sized dog is every bit the size of a wolf. Its tail's split at the end to form what seems to be almost like a forked tip. And when it steps down, it seems to almost watch you in a sense of judgment, Jacob, which I'm sure you are used to that up to this point.
Okay, and this is the point at which I am probably going to kind of break the norm of what everyone thinks of Jacob. On seeing this hound, he is going to kind of turn full towards it and clap his hands on his knees. Puppy! Oh, hello, handsome. And what's your name? And yes,
wholesome
Jacob,
dog experience.
Jacob is an animal lover, pet lover. Anyway,
when you drop down and you present yourself in a posturing manner to this hound, he takes a step and his lips furl for a moment. You hear this, and then he kind of leans in and gives you a sniff. And before any kind of noise even erupts from the hound, you hear a what? Le Pook? Pook! Who's there? Who's there? An elderly man swings on hip, carrying a staff with him. And the hound at the shoulder is taller than this man. Pook's ears fall. And he seems to turn, whipping his flitline tail. And he moves up behind his owner, Tyget. Forgive me, sir. This is Le Pook. He's older. Like myself, we've been friends for a long time, and he means no harm, but he's quite a bit more capable than myself.
There's nothing to apologize for, Tyget. He's a handsome devil. So Le Pook is his name, is it?
Yes. Le Pook is not from these parts. He's I found him on my journeys and Sassarine when I was a boy.
Could I go ahead and pull a knowledge planes to see if I recognize the species?
Let's see. It's either a knowledge planes or it's a knowledge nature. Let's see what we got here.
Well, if he's in an interplanar, if he's an interplanar creature, I'd say planes. If he's
I'm about to tell you.
Of the local.
You have knowledge arcana?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
Tons of it.
Give me that. Sapuka is a hound. Very sleek canine with coarse tawny coat, pointed ears, amber-colored eyes. You can see that he's aging, but he doesn't really look like a hound that's native to any area that you've been. But you have read about hounds with split tails and the way that their paws are designed, which is kind of odd. Like it's an oddity in the arcane world, because they can basically at whim make themselves silent, and they can teleport. And it's bizarre because when he was moving to you, you could hear him, but when he walked up behind Tyget, he made himself silent. And you're not really sure if he walked the distance behind Tyget, or if he may have actually blinked to just behind him. You were so enraptured and taken aback at that point by Tyget's description. Maybe that's what he was in a previous life, when he wasn't an entrepreneur, a salesman. Maybe he was a bard. Perhaps he was a silver-tongued rogue. But he held your curiosities. He spoke to you like a gentleman, not to judge you immediately. And with that, Le Pook moved behind. He said, forgive me, Le Pook is not from around here. He is
a bit of a conundrum to this locale. He was found in my journeys a pup when I found him, a blink. What do they call him? Blink dog. Blink dog. Yes, blink dog.
Well, he's a handsome devil despite it.
Well, he appreciates that. He hasn't said anything in a long time, but believe he is much smarter than he lets on to be. He's not just your common pupper.
I'll have to take your word on it. Forgive my rudeness. My name is Jakob Rivers. I'm hoping I can come to you and find a little bit of wisdom.
Yeah, I expected you eventually. I knew that you would be coming. Trust not, it's not some prophecy of sorts. No, it's something a bit of a dream. I had some tidings in my younger years with a device. It allows me to have a bit of a foretelling, like divination of sorts. Yes.
I'm sure that must have been very handy when you were a younger man.
No. I've only ever been foretold of the worst things, so I anticipate your arrival is to not be entirely pleasant, even if you have the best of intentions.
Well, I suppose you're not entirely wrong. Maybe this is a conversation best had over a cup of tea, if you're not busy.
Fine. How do you take yours? Would you like honey?
Please.
Poop, go on, Poop. Brew us tea, please. You hear chuff up come from Pook behind him. Go on, hound. Be kind. And with that, you'll hear the clicking of the nails across the wooden floor again.
Well, I suppose since your divinations have figured out that, well, I'm probably not here under the best of circumstances, I should at least be forthcoming and honest. I come to you because an evening or so back, my colleagues and I, we attacked the temple of Ouijas. There were reasons, of course, but mostly because a gentleman there by the name of Ike Iverson had sent assassins after us. And of course, we were trying to get to the bottom of it. While we were there, we came across some documents speaking to something extremely old, or at least to the best that we could go ahead and come across. I was hoping that I could go ahead and speak with you about
spread it out now. Come on, not getting any younger.
Hey, I can't help it. We take horrible notes.
Well, by the time you recall, I will have our tea, I suppose.
But no, I think it had to do with a gentleman by the name of Thetor Abradius and something called the Soul Pillars.
He crooks his elbow up on the arm of his chair, which is like a stuffed recliner. And he looks at you strangely.
I find that such a peculiar question. Why do you wish to know of such things?
Well, from the document that we could... Actually, you know what? He still has the document. He's just going to hand it the fuck over. Instead of me trying to remember all this shit.
He struggles for a moment, like he's holding the paper out and he's flenching his eyes, like mostly closed. And then he draws up a pair of glasses and pulls them up tightly over his ears. And even then, he's still kind of looking bizarrely through them, like he's almost preparing to sneeze. And as he's reading it, soul pillars,
I know, horrible penmanship.
It's actually, it's quite good penmanship. I just believe that there are some things here that well, I think this could be rather long-winded.
But no, taking up his tea that I'd imagine has come by now while he's reading the document.
Yeah.
No,
it's at this point that you would see Lapook is actually pulling what is, it's like a very short bound rope over. Your best guess is it sort of looks like it's a Roomba, but it's just a tray that's been set on some very crudely crafted wheels, like a little Red Ryder wagon or a radio.
A service cart.
Sort of, but much lower to the ground.
Well, he is a halfling.
Yeah, but it was designed for Pook. That's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
There are some things here that I think you may not know much about, or any about.
I'll be quite honest. I know nothing about anything being discussed in there. If it weren't for the fact that it was in, the Temple of Ouijas and seemed to be of ill import in something that perhaps this Ike Iverson is about, I probably wouldn't have given it a second thought. But 3 of my colleagues have died over this. And, well, as you can imagine, I have a newfound impetus as to why I want to know more. I was hoping that a man of your wisdom and esteemed character
You
might
think
be
because I'm old, I might know something.
I wasn't trying to be rude about it, but yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. I would do the same. I can't be angry with you for that. You're not wrong. I do know some of the things here. The things that were speculated of a long age past. Well, I am not so informed on who this F. Abradius is. I am familiar with one of these names, and if what it says is true, I suppose we're all in trouble. You see here, on this, and he points back down to the document, it says a very particular name. It says Vitrus Bale. Yes, it says Vitrus Bale grows ever more restless, and the insanity that lies frozen in Kazan Kazal begins to stir.
I figured that was the name of a place.
Vitrus Bale is the name of not a place, but something much more deadly. A nightmare in serpentine form. Vitrus Bale is a dragon. A very old dragon. It was an old dragon when I was a boy. Older now. Now, I must inform you that while dragons are strong, they're only stronger with age. And this one was particularly wise. I had heard that it was felled. Several times, actually. But that every time it died, it came back. I don't really know what that means, but Vitrus Bale is a sort of boogeyman, if you will.
Or at least takes a licking and keeps on ticking.
Yes, I'm afraid so, yes. But I don't know what this Kozan Kozal is. That might be a place. Might be a place. Where, I don't know. But if it keeps guests like Mistress Bale, then, well, that's not a safe place. Wherever it may be, I would suggest you don't go there.
No. Anyone or anywhere that keeps company with a dragon is usually best left to its own devices.
I would agree.
But as I said, my goal here isn't so much Mistress Bale as Ike Iverson. Though, and leaning over, he is going to kind of look over the sheet and point out, it keeps mentioning, he mentions this group, the Six. Is that something having to do with the city in general?
Did you bring this to me so that I may read it to you? Because it says nothing about 6. It says something about 13, but not 6.
Well, the 13 then. My apologies. Yeah. I haven't read it for a while, and it's not like I can read it at the moment.
Well, my eyes are not as good as they used to be, but I am very capable of reading, and it does, in fact, say 13. Right here, you can tell by the way that it is. You see,
I take your word on it.
The double E, that with the T before and the N and after. Yes, you get the picture. Listen, I don't know of this 13. Let me reread it. The Cage Rights have built matrix on which to support them, but due to the short-sightedness of the others, they're left out of these discussions. You are my only ally amongst the 13 now. High Priestess. Which High Priestess is this? All right, are you just staring off into the void there?
No, I have no idea what High Priestess it is. The only priestess I know about in town, it would happen to be somebody help.
Jenya.
Thank you. Would be Jenya of the
Jenya Eurekas. That she's
but I don't know. I think she's a bit young.
She's the spry one from the St. Cuthbert's. Yes, she has a nice tuchus on that one.
I have to agree, but
you could say that she's pretty hot, yeah.
At the moment, though, I think she's currently recovering from the church's burning.
Yes, I did read about that. Read here. Lepook, were we told? Was there a document? And when you say that, Lepook goes, Right. Well, either way, we know about it. It's unfortunate. I'm terribly sorry to hear it. I hope that you have not lost any friends in this excursion. It sounds as if they were recently lost, though, and I do wish you the best, boy. I am afraid that you walk a different path than most, and did so before your friends passed away. Would you look at that? You've got a man leg. Did you take that leg from someone?
Personally, no. Unfortunately, it was given to me rather forcibly by my... Well, should everything turn out true, my father.
Your father gave you a man leg.
Yes, the humor of Nabthatorin never fails.
That's a name that I haven't heard of in a long time. What? Your father?
If he's to be believed, yes.
What? What do you mean? Wait. What?
Up until recently, I was under the belief that I was a bastard of some demonic origin, of course. Apparently, Nabthatorin, who, as it so happens, was the one responsible for burning down the church that Genya was in, apparently he claims to be my father. Whether he is or isn't is up in the air, but as a way of making amends, and at this point he'll kind of lift his leg a little and flex it, gifted me an old man's leg.
Well, I am an old man, and that is not an old man's leg. That's a young man's leg.
Well, it was dark, and he definitely looked older than I.
Listen, I know that my vision is not as great as it used to be, but you don't look like a fool, demon, and Lapuk did not attack you right away. I assume that you were in good company, and you kept only the best kind of company.
I did, apparently, until recently, keep the company of a very good man, a dwarf, a cleric, paladin, if you can believe it.
Nabthatorin Nabthatorin was a general in the army of a fallen god. A god I can't remember the name of. He fought for him until he was usurped, or so. Some text I read. He was tricked. It was a devil's trick, and he. Well, he was trapped away. Where? No one knows. No one's claimed to have ever found it, but that was no longer our problem, and he was forgotten. No. But Nabthatorin is very much a threat that was since condemned to the demon scar wastes. I know. One of my original parties that I was with were in charge of that.
Well, allow me to give you the bad news that he is most definitely outside of the Demon Scar. In fact, he is in Cauldron as we speak.
Then the Demon Scar Pact has been broken.
Pact?
Yes, I'm sorry. Pook. It's time. Forgive me, sir. We will be closing early today.
No, that's perfectly reasonable. I did just deliver some rather unfortunate news, apparently, when it comes to the Demon General. At that point, he's going to stand rolling that sheet of paper up. I do thank you, though, for the information that you could give me about this. I'm hoping that this Ike Iverson isn't in league with Nabthatorin. As you could imagine, with the supposed parentage and so forth, I'm already setting on my way to end that particular threat.
He starts to kind of like lean forward in his chair, and he places his hand out to your leg, and he tries to grab onto your hand, and he covers the top of your hand with his, and his hand is very frail and shaky, and the world is a very different place than how I left it. And now I'm afraid that being here is no longer safe.
I believe that your road will be very dark and filled with harsh decisions, dread. I do not think you are a bad person. I believe that you can condemn your own nature based on how you were nurtured. And I believe that you are a good person, even if your blood is not. Cast yourself away from your kin. Come on, Pook. We will be shuttering up this night.
You'll be leaving the city as well?
In a manner of speaking, yes.
I can't say as I blame you. I've come across others who've done much the same on hearing the news. All the same, I do thank you again for your assistance. And I hope you and this handsome devil Pook have safe travels and, in due time, a city to return to.
He takes his staff and he kind of ambles over to his front desk where he might finalize business, and reading the room you get a very dire sense. Pook's ears are down, his tail is between his legs, and he shows age in a way now that you hadn't really expected. He moves with a strange canter in the way that he steps, very much the same way that the old man has. And as you turn to walk out, glancing back over your shoulder, you see that there's a frail smile that covers his face. And Tyget waves to you and says, "Thank you for seeing Tyget's old things. Come back again tomorrow. Have a good day."
And a good day to you. Thank you again for the tea.
Pook follows behind, ushering you outside. Give me perception.
Let's see.
The store's been abandoned for years. No one's ever been there.
25.
Jacob, on your way out, you look back to Pook and then again upward, and you see that Tyget is scaling his desk. You don't really think much of it immediately, but he's standing atop of his desk. It's a large table, even. You know, it's not really much in the way of just a basic desk, but it's a large table. And as you step out, Pook nudges the door closed with his nose, and you hear the clicking of the mechanism, so the door is actually closed.
Yeah, now tell me I didn't notice a noose hanging over the desk or anything like that. But no, climbing on his desk. Alright, I'll have to file that away for later. But as daylight's coming up, he's going to throw up his hood and start hot-footing it back across town to Cort. And
you look around, realizing that many of the vendors still haven't opened up at this point, and you take it upon yourself to kind of pull up your hood. And give me a newfound perception, please.
You hear Ulhime, "Take your fucking hood off."
Jacob, there is the sound of a thud that hangs behind you. It's internal to the building, and only because so many of the vendors have not opened up and the market is flooding have you noticed this.
A thud inside of Tyget's?
Yes.
Yeah, he's going to go ahead and try and turn and open the door. I mean, because that doesn't sound good or comforting.
Sure. When you open the door, you turn the mechanism itself, and it opens, but something is stopping the door. Like there's a weight against it. It's not so much so that it would prevent you from pushing past it, but it feels sort of like maybe 100, 140, 150 pounds.
He'll bang on the door a couple times, calling out Tyget's name. But if he doesn't hear any kind of reply within the first 2 or 3 attempts, he's going to shove the door open.
Okay. When you shove the door open after calling out his name several times, there is no response. The door doesn't get shoved back. It just remains where it is. And when you finally push the door open, Pook's head angles around the corner as it lies flatly on the floor. The cheeks of his upper snout seem sunken in. The lips seem to be pulled, shriveled up. The eyes, the amber glowing color, now dissipated to a dark and shallow gray. Tyget hangs just in front of his work desk.
Fucking A!
You called it, Sniper.
What is it about my presence and people killing themselves? This is why I can't have friends.
Yeah, that's
my house
why.
now. Go find the deed. Go find the deed.
If we find the deed, we can claim it's our house. No one will question our growing property list.
Right.
You're not really sure what caused it, but you see that Lepook has also died.
And the dog!
You can't tell if it was some kind of, like, bound life, something or other. It's just the fact that Lepook has faded.
The dog was fine up until it saw you, and then it was like, "Ah, fuck, I'm out."
Tyget's face as he hangs there, his eyes bloodshot red from being, I guess, drained of any air from that point. You can almost assume that he passed because of a snap. In his age, it wouldn't have taken much. He wasn't incredibly heavy, but his fragile neck wouldn't have taken much weight to snap. As he hang there, his bloodshot eyes, his face just in utter disrepair. It's not that he was angry. It's not that he was just upset. It's just that he was sad. And you don't know what it means, but one of the last things he said to you was that the pact had been broken. The Demon Scar Pact had been broken.
Damn it. Oh. But no, he would go ahead and cut Tyget.
Karami's incredibly right. He was sad, but more than anything, it's disappointing. It's part of his life's work. He retired, you know. He told you that he had a hand in it all.
With one of his, original adventuring parties, yeah. So, yeah, apparently me coming and bringing the news.
Good news, yeah. It's the same thing as with Jared. We're just telling people the good news about Shackled City.
It was Sniper. Blame him, not Bub. All right. This is where we're going to hop over to Thelsa. We're going to get Thelsa's last moment here. And this is probably where we're going to end the session.
Thanks. Leave me with the dead body.
I should say, Jakob can no longer say Cort spills the beans on anything. because you just tipped the entire can over.
But it's not like he was trying to keep it a secret. He's letting people know that the demon general is afoot.
This might have been the one person to not tell.
It's a whole Glabreezu, not just a foot.
You didn't, you had no way of knowing, right?
Damn it, Ronald.
Yeah, I had no way of knowing, but they're still gonna fucking blame me for it.
You don't technically. You don't have to tell anyone. Nobody has gone to see Tyget out of this group.
We've never fucking met him.
In 5 ever. Okay, so.
Well, I'm still gonna go back the next day because 1, he asked me to, and 2, I gotta go through his shit.
This is why you are not liked. Because you have one character-defining moment of it being good, and you stick your dick in it.
You save a baby from a burning building, and then
I would put him and Duke in their bed. I would respect their, I would give them time and just kind of reflect and grieve.
Well,
and then it's like,
grave robbing
there I go stealing again.
Grave robbing is for Tuesday nights, okay? It's not for Shackled City.
You're sitting there mourning over the corpse as you start
Thelsa, come on. Onwards to Thelsa.
Okay,
Thelsa.
worse come to worse. You can always just believe that he was being kept alive until the pact was broken. And this was like his finally himself.
Yep.
But that's not true. Just convince yourself it is. Anyways, back to me.
Yes, Thelsa, you spent your week monitoring the house, and then you found yourself in like the wood tumbler, or inside of the wood hold.
Yeah.
Before you came to, discovered the events, saw your sister, and then you darted away, teleporting back to the bathhouse, clutching on to your, technically Cort's weapon.
Yep.
That being said, when you arrive and you're inside of the office, you'll find that there's some linen there. Some of them seem to be chopped up into pieces. You're not sure why. The last time that you had seen this place, it wasn't this way, but someone or something had come through, and your best guess is it was probably the vampire children below, which is yet another problem to be dealt with. But you arrive and you find these wrappings that have been left behind, and only a few seem to still be uncut, and you're able to wrap yourself up. What do you do now that you've seen through this?
Primarily, I want to kind of monitor the house, still, but from afar, probably during night. Along the idea that, the killer always goes back to the scene of the... And I just kind of want to fully understand what happened because, family just died all of a sudden, and I'm found drenched in blood at their place. And
sure.
I do have the lingering thought in my mind that something might have compelled me to do it, that I believe I should have been dead, but I don't really know what happened. So I'm thinking I'm just going to try and keep watch, and maybe whatever forces pushed me to do it or did it themselves would reappear.
You pull together whatever you happen to find to cover yourself. You wash your hands, your face, and everything else that could be seen doesn't really matter so much. As you pull yourself together in an attempt to exit the building and go back to the crime scene to see what's actually happened, you start to exit the primary office inside of the bathhouse. And when you do so, there seems to be a figure. A figure that seems to be opposite you in the bathhouse, just over the large bowl, the communal tub. And this figure steps down as if there were a floor there. You can't really make out any of the details. But there is this sensuality to the way that this figure walks. You get a sense that it's of the feminine approach. And as it steps, borderline dancing across the non-existent water inside of this communal tub like it's some kind of floor, it stands about 15 feet away from you, still hovering above the first step. Camera died again, Ronald. It stands there. This crimson color seems to drape over the top of it. Not like a veil, but like free-flowing water. It moves unnaturally so, but in a way that doesn't really give you enough detail for you to assume whom or what it could be. What do you do, Mom? Mistress of Malice?
I would try and approach it, because if it's in our house, so to speak, and I guess it must be some kind of friend or something, because this isn't public property or something that has reason to talk to one of us. And in Thelsa's eyes, everyone else is dead, so well, might as well see what's going on. So
Sure.
I'll take a few steps forward and just kind of not say anything at first, but come closer to whoever it is, maybe get a better look.
When you step forward to take a better look, the figure kind of begins to lean in. And it's at this point that you realize that it's dauntingly tall. 9-10 feet. And it begins to lean down. Almost as if you're kind of like looking over a child. And as it begins to lean down, you see a whip of like smoke, this water-like crimson come out, and then yet another as it pulls what you think could be arms to its hips. As it leans down, you get the smell of blood. The veil pulls back over the face, and where you're expecting to see skin and you know, eyes and the whole everything, instead, just a red skull. A blood-dipped skull peers through the veil.
I'm gonna come up to the side of the tub, and I'm just gonna say, Why are you here? Who are you?
It pauses for a moment before its head kind of turns and almost moves in like a wave-like motion before the skull turns to face you yet again. Child, darling, pet, you were in my house, and you needed me most. Your way lost, your goals unclear. See, but you desired power. You wanted to best a demon. So selfish. So selfish. You fell on my floors. You bled out. And though you welcomed death, I saw an opportunity. I wanted you to find faith in me. So I brought you back. Nay, I never let you leave. What kind of host would I be if I let you die in my home? How would I be perceived?
by my followers.
See.
I brought you back, and I gave you a gift. The gift of courage. It's interesting that you chose that weapon.
I didn't choose anything.
You did. You did. It was an object of power. Maybe not to you, but to someone that you might care for. You see, there is power in belief. But because of belief, there is power, and because one of yours believed in that is why you chose it. You're innately tied. And that's fine. But because of this, because of my decisions, I gave you the choice. You pursued your innermost desires, and it just so happens that your desires led you to murder. See, I saw your beginning, and I've seen your end, and your end was not now. And I think that there's still plenty you can do in the name of Ouijas.
So what, you'll just have me as a puppet?
No, I am not that cruel. Be my champion. Fight for me, and I will make you feel the things that you've longed to feel, welcomed, not taken by the hands of greedy men. The things that you've desired to feel from another person, not tainted by an annoying rat of a sibling, or pushed away from the love of the mother that you always needed. I can be your everything if you be my champion in these lands. Thelsa.
What will it take?
What do you mean? What will it take?
What must I sacrifice for you offering me power?
You've already made the sacrifice. You've made the sacrifice your entire life. And you've finished. You've traced the deeds, pursued what you most desire. I just need an agent on this side. I'm not looking for a right hand. I'm looking for a blade. Be my champion, and I'll help you with your friends. You know they still live. You just haven't found them.
She's gonna kind of ponder upon it. I have nothing to lose now, aside from my friends. And if you are willing to help me and them, then I have no reason to deny you.
Ike Iverson lost his way. He and Emerald Alustani are no longer devout to me. They seek a power of another god, and they've lost my blessing. Give me your blood. Add to my blood well. Cut your palm and touch my bosom. You see the skull draw back, and she leans back, draping her head, almost as if she's waiting for like a waterfall to hit her body.
She's a weird girl. But hey, I'm into it. Alright, I'm gonna grab Cort's master's sword, and I'm gonna cut my palm and do as she asks.
Sure. The moment that you cut your palm and you flinch your fist closed, you seem to let this blood kind of pour before you walk over to her, and as soon as it touches the part of her body that seems to be swelling, like this effervescent blood well that seems to almost never end, it almost looks as if it's adding to her. And your blood, while tainted by this demonic pact that you had with whatever you had previously, yes, it seems to swirl before it finally adds to the bowl, to this mixing pot, this goulash of devout following. And your sins are absolved from you. You no longer have this fear of the things that you've said. You don't worry anymore about your annoying little sister, your mother that didn't really care for you, and your father that repeatedly took advantage of you, your kindness, your time, and your body. You feel absolved. It actually feels justified. That's their comeuppance, and they deserved it. And it feels right. And that's where I'm going to end tonight's session. Right there.
Also with another blood pact.
She's got her hands in a lot of cookie jars. You know what I'm saying?
They're all red and covered in blood, but cookie jars indeed.
It's
right.
red velvet cookies. Yeah.
We know where he's got that.
Don't worry,
cookie jar.
it goes really well with a side glass of orphan tears from his new orphaned sister.
In my mind, the whole time that was
Griffin.
the whole time that was happening,
Griffith.
all I kept thinking in my mind was Hell Hydra.
Fucking Red Skull, man.
So,
Alright.
Bring me
Time,
the Tesseract.
time to see how many demons and devils I can make pacts with.
Yeah, you're just collecting them like Pokemon at this point.
Yeah, I just gotta go searching for them and just be like, hey, you want a soul?
I'm a little jealous. Thelsa gets to run into really cool demons and gods and so forth. Me, I kill people.
Hey,
It's okay.
You're
Just
friends
help
with
me
a
kill your
pseudo
father.
with a pseudo god. That's just as good.
Totally. No,
guy you
I'm
met
friends
knocked your
with
dad
a
in
dwarf
Eternal
that
Light.
thinks he's a god.
Well, you know what? Maybe you won't get any blessings. And how about that? Maybe Ulhime comes up in the world, and you know what? Maybe he forgets about you. Maybe he's like, you know what? No atonement for you, Jacob.
Alright, time to spec into Paladin.
You gotta cut those toxic people out of your life.
Hey, what happened to your friend? What happened to your Dawnbringer friend? I'm like, oh, what about him? I was like, he didn't want no blessings. No blessings for him.
Jesus.
You know, he got tired of me dying all the time, so he just went ahead and did his own thing.
Yeah, that's exactly
like
what
a
happened.
punk.
Like a punk. That's right. Perfect. All right, guys, that's gonna be tonight's session. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time to watch us this night. It's been a lot of fun. Tomorrow, the goal, so long as everybody's on board, is to hit Carrying Crown. Yeah, that's the goal. We're gonna see if that works out. But if you have any last questions, this is your opportunity to ask questions to our heroes. Maybe you want to know why they did a certain thing, or they didn't do a certain thing. Perhaps you have questions as to why they're doing what they're doing. This is your opportunity. Ask away.
Yeah, I got a question. Did I manage to get all the possible information out of Tygas that I possibly could before
No.
he decided to kill himself?
Nope.
Why does everyone you talk to kill themselves?
I mean, I feel like you answered your own question there.
Nice. Welcome back, Zach. It's good to see that you're returning to watching Shackled City again. Yeah.
Now we actually have a reason to go ahead and pull Green out more often.
Well, I mean, more of a reason. She's going to be back anyway because, you know.
She wants to stab you.
Yeah, you've given her all the reasons. She didn't trust you before. Now she definitely doesn't trust you.
It's gonna be really awkward when you're standing at the dude's feet of his hanged corpse, and she's gonna come walking into the door and go, "Oh, hey, you again!"
Oh, I've totally thought about that already. I thought about just having her walk in right then.
We keep running into each other at the same.
No. Make it worse. Make it worse. She walks in. Hey, Uncle Tyga.
Yeah. Uncle Tygot, how's our little baby Lapook? You killed my dog and my uncle! That's exactly what it's gonna be like.
Uncle Tygot, you ready to go feed the homeless?
If Tyget's your uncle, then she's a fucking lot older than I thought.
Yeah. It's like times like these where I wish I was like, if I was Pathos partnered with Jacob, I'd walk in and just start like looking around and be like, well, as long as you're just hanging around, it looks like we can take some things. And I'd just be like, see what I did there?
All right,
see what I did there, Jacob?
Muting him in Discord.
Good thing.
I don't even have the power to mute him in Discord. God damn it. Wrong Discord. Shit!
Yay.
Adopted. Yeah, it's just like a godfather of sorts. It's like, this is my god uncle. All right. Yeah, that's gonna be it, guys. Let's go ahead and see if there's something we can funnel you at. I mean, it's definitely gonna misdirect anyway. So let's see if there's anything happening.
That Astro.
Is Astro playing right now?
Yeah, he's playing Star Citizen.
Cool. All right, guys. Thank you for another kick-ass night. We'll see you tomorrow. More gaming. Friday's going to be a 12-hour stream. We're going to be getting into a lot more of Bioshock. Saturday, Sounds of Silence and the movie night. Yeah, Patreon movie night. So, guys, hopping over and show Astro a little bit of love. Astro's good people.
Very good people.
Yep. And if we want to have him back at any point in the future for any of the games, we got to keep showing him love, okay? Thank you so much, Ward. I appreciate that, buddy. So, guys,
Man, I know that logo.
Yeah, I bet you do, you fucking pervert.
Tight work.
Why won't it let me raid? What is going on?
Quick, raid harder.